Kia ora Year 12 and Year 11. This is the first video of several that I'm going to make about fractional and negative powers. And this goes with a really great theta exercise, which is Theta 1805. Now Theta 1805 mixes up a whole lot of slightly different little skills. So in this video I'm going to make up some questions of my own that are like question 1 and 2. So here are the first ones. And that is learning how to write things as surds when we're given them as fractional powers. So a surd sign is also called a radical sign, and it's the thing that looks like that. So that's the square root sign, and this is the cube root sign. I've put some negative powers in as well, because you've done those in class. So the first thing we do here, well, that I do, is to handle the negative power. So x to the power of negative 1/3 is equal to 1 divided by x to the power of 1/3. And the way we work with the fractional powers is that we've got 1 over the cube root of x to the power of 1. Now we don't bother to write that 1, but let's look at where that's coming from in the fraction. So with a fractional power, the denominator is the type of root that we've got. So here we've got a cube root, and the numerator, see if I can make the 1 go yellow, is the power inside the surd. Here, of course, we don't need to have x to the power of 1. That's just equal to x. So my final answer is 1 over the cube root of x. And now, as usual, I've run out of space. So let's hop. Let's just box that off. Now we're going to work on this one here. So 2y to the negative 3 over 2 is equal to 2 divided by y to the 3 over 2. So I'm handling the negative power first and taking the reciprocal. Now that's equal to 2 over the square root, coming from here, square root of y cubed. Let's look at two together now that are quite similar at first glance. So the first one is 2 times this. And the second one is all of this in brackets to the power of 4. We have to treat that 2 quite differently. So we're following our rules about the order of operations, and we're going to deal with what's in the brackets and the exponents first. Then we'll do the multiplication. So this one is equal to 2 times y to the power of negative 4 times 3 over 2. That's equal to 2y to the negative 6, which is equal to 2 over y to the power of 6. In the next question, because the 2 is in the brackets, we have to go 2 to the power of 4. Just trying to work out where to put my working. There we go. So this is equal to 2 to the power of 4 times, as before, y to the negative 3 over 2 times 4, which gives me 16 y to the negative 6. 16 divided by y to the negative 6. So just make sure that you can see why this one here has got a 2 in it, and this one here has got a 16 in it. Now one more where I've got negative powers on the numbers inside the brackets. So 2 to the negative 1, y to the negative half, all to the power of 7. Well, there's a couple of ways I can go here. I can do the powering, or I can fix up the stuff inside the brackets first. It really doesn't matter. But I'm going to do the powering, or it's properly called exponentiation. So 2 to the power of negative 7 times y to the power of negative 7 over 2. Let's deal with those in turn. So 2 to the power of negative 7 is 1 over 2 to the power of 7, which is 128, times 1 over y to the 7 over 2, dealing with the negative sign. So cleaning that up and writing it in surd form gives me this. Okay, on to some questions with just numbers in them and fractional and negative powers. So these are a lot like the questions in 1805, just part 2, so question 2. Now please don't use your calculator. I know that later on in the course you are going to do that, and when I'm not looking you're going to do that, but I want you getting really fluent at these because they're pretty cool and it's useful to be able to do them on our own. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write these out with lots of steps, and then we're going to figure out a method to do them mentally. So proceeding as we did with the earlier ones, we know that the fractional power means this: 1 over 27 to the power of 2/3. Now there are a couple of ways I can think about that. And the easiest is to say, well, when we're working with this, we're going to split this into a power to a power. So let's think about 27 to the power of 1/3 squared, because the 2 is going to multiply in with the 1/3. So what does that leave me with? Well, I can't believe I've run out of room again. Well, what we've got in here is the cube root of 27, and that's 3. So my answer is simply 1 over 3 squared, which is 1/9. Now, some of you are probably already seeing a way that you can go from here pretty much straight through to here. And that's good, just be careful not to muck it up. So here we've got 16 to the power of -3 over 4, and I'm going to do this one slowly as well until we can see a faster way. So we've got 1 over 16 to the power of 3/4, and we can think of that 16 like this: 16 to the power of 1/4 cubed. Well, this is the 4th root of 16, so what times what times what times what will give me 16, and that's 2. So it's 1 over 2 cubed, which is 1/8. Now the next one that I do, I'm going to start to find a simpler way. I'll still write out that first step, so it's going to be 1 to the power of 9 to the 3 over 2. So we can look at this and we can think, this is telling me I want the square root of this number, which is 3, and then I want to cube it. Okay, so 9 to the power of -3 over 2 is going to be 1 over 3 cubed. Right, so that's going 9 to the power of 1/2. That's the square root of 9, which is 3. So that's 1/27. Now what I'm going to do is do the first two again using that quick method very quickly now, and then there are some for you to try, so please don't turn off the video. Right, so let's try this one using the fast method. It's going to be 1 over the cube root of 27, which is 3 to the power of 2. So it's 1/9. And the next one that we did, 16 to the power of -3 over 4, is going to be 1 over the 4th root of 16, so that's 2 to the power of 3, which is 1/8. So when you do 1805, question 2, try and practice getting them to that level of fluency of doing it in your head. Okay, now I've popped some on the next page for you to try. So have a go at those 3 first. I have a bad feeling we've already done the first one. I think we have. So that one was done on the last page. So pause the video, have a go at this one, and that's all. Right, so let's go over the answers. Well, for this one here, this equals 1 over the 6th root of 64, so that's 2 to the power of 5, which is 1 over 32. This one here is equal to 1 over the 5th root of 243. Now, as I said in class, these are usually going to be really easy numbers. So what times what times what times what will equal 243? You know it's not going to be 2, because 2 to the power of 5 is 32. But if you try 3, it will be 3. So this is 1 over 3 squared, which is equal to 1/9. So there you go. Hope that helps. Please go and try some of this lovely theta exercise. There are some questions in the Walker book as well. I think pages 13 to 16, but the theta work is really great on this. I'll be back later on with some more harder simplifying ones and changing the base ones.